Today we are going to talk about the guy that is currently changing the landscape of wrestling and may just be the best wrestler in the world. Today we're going to break it down for Kenny Omega. Break it down! What's up, Maniacs? My name is Mex. Today we're going to break it down for Kenny Omega. He is the guy that we are all talking about. No matter what you watch, he is the guy on everyone's lips right now. Obviously, he's just become AEW World Champion. He's recently turned up on Impact, completely changing the landscape of wrestling, him and Don Callis. And I couldn't have got two better guests to speak about this with today. In the studio, we have the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour, the Hood's Japanese correspondent. NK is in the building. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, man. Talk about my favorite topic, Kenny Omega, man. Let's go. Let's go.
And we have also got podcast host for his own podcast, There's Something About Wrestling. GG is in the building.
Big
How you doing?
Man. All good, man. Happy to be here. We're just getting started.
Literally just getting started.
NK
Break
like
it down. Kenny Omega. Guys, just tell me, like, firstly, before we get into it, what's your favorite memories of Kenny Omega? Like, your most fond memory of him?
That's...
NK's thinking there's too many to pick.
Too many, but obviously the one that, you know, everyone talks about is the series with Okada.
Of course.
Like, that is iconic. Do you know what I mean? That, for me, that's like, I'm going to get into it in detail later, but for me, that's a very special moment.
And you, GG?
Just the overall story we're seeing unfold with Ibushi, it's just, if it continues, like we said off air, like if it continues and we see Kenny eventually dethrone the champion Ibushi, this story's been going on for the longest.
Yeah,
and
literally.
That in itself. And I mean, just because I love the match, just Young Bucks, Hangman, Kenny, I know it's fairly recent, but that is just such a fond match
They're
for
calling
me.
it the greatest wrestling match ever. The greatest tag match ever.
For real.
But yeah, we are 100% going to get into that. So guys, as you know, how we do break it down right here at WrestleManiac UK, it is all based on 4 categories. And those 4 categories are aesthetic, promo, ability, and legacy. So you guys can play along with us. Put down below in the comments what you would rate Kenny Omega on each of those particular attributes. We're going to get into it right now. Kenny Omega, break it down. Break it down! So first and foremost, we're going to talk about aesthetic. So as the guys write down whatever number they're going to score Kenny Omega, aesthetic is obviously the look of the wrestler, you know, in terms of his packaging and everything like that. You know, it might be he had a certain gimmick which he looked very good in, or just his everyday, you know, look really. So yeah, the aesthetic of the wrestler. So we're going to start with GG. He seems to have got that done nice and quickly. So GG's gone with a 4. So NK, you done?
Yeah.
Go on, let's see yours before we get into the explanation. Also a 4. Cool. So GG, let's go. Why are we giving him a 4?
Kenny looks the part, yeah. Mm-hmm. He does look like a pro wrestler. The long hair, the tan.
I can smell her butts.
You know what I mean? But I don't know, there's just something about, I mean, 5, you've got to be, do you know what I mean? I'm going to be as strict as I can on this, yeah? So for me, an aesthetic of a wrestler, 5 like is going to be just someone that really looks the part, your biggest people. And Kenny's obviously come from junior heavyweight and
of course.
This, that. He's put on a good bit of mass, but he does look the part. His attires are quite iconic, some of the ring entrances he's had. And yeah, like, I mean, I wouldn't get some of the video game references because I'm not a gamer like that, but there's a lot of deep-rooted stuff where, you know, nods to the gaming fans and stuff, which, you know, would put him up there as well for a lot of people. But yeah, 5, you've got to be perfect for me.
Fair enough.
Do you know what? For me, Kenny Omega, when he fully embraced the cleaner gimmick, was a 5. In terms of the shades.
I'd agree. Yeah.
In terms of the shades, the leather jacket, the gloves, like
the broom.
Like he looked like an abs. Like there's a shot of him winning the G1 climax, right? The shot of him with the confetti in the background and him doing the pose and like just the black jeans and the shape he was in. Because not to say that Kenny's out of shape because he's a good wrestler, but like the shape that Kenny was in New Japan was different. And he was chiseled.
Cut.
I feel like his attire has taken a decline in AEW. Even from like the tights, I'm not really feeling it. Do you know what I mean?
Why do you put that down to anything?
I think Kenny's we're gonna get to this later, but Kenny's very meticulous in the stuff he does. Nothing he does is by mistake. And I feel like he wanted to create a clear separation from this is my New Japan character, this is my AEW character.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's very clear that he's done that because now, if you look at more recently, he has brought back the shades.
Yeah.
He has brought back the aviator glasses. Do you know what I mean? And there's little
Yeah,
stuff.
but now he's in suits and he's Ric Flairing it up.
Exactly. And I noticed before, Kenny never used to, in AEW, Kenny never wore suits. Kenny used to come out in
Sweats.
like he used to dress super casual to the point where fans are looking at him like, you can't dress like why you like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? But now he's embraced his cleaner gimmick. You noticed he's cleaned up. You know what I mean? He's dyed his hair a bit.
Deeper.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
deeper.
it's very meticulous. The attention to detail with Kenny is there, but I just think from an aesthetics perspective, I do prefer the cleaner look to the look he's had on AEW for a year now, and that's why he's it's not a 5. Do you know what I mean? He hasn't maintained that aesthetic consistently. That's why it has to be a 4.
Do you have a favourite look of his? Like, well, just a cleaner.
Do you know what?
You talking like short pants, like
Nah, I wouldn't say short part though. My favorite look here is kind of the blending with the two. So his look he had in the G1 where he wore the long black trousers, but he still had the leather jacket and gloves. I think one of my favorite entrances was G1 Climax 27 against it was G1 Climax 27 final against Naito. He didn't have the gloves. That's the only thing.
That's the one that Naito won, right?
Yes, yeah, Naito won. If you look at him, the only thing that I just needed the gloves, but if you look at him, he comes out with the US title with the leather jacket and the shorts with the glasses. I'm telling you, he looks like an absolute star. Like you look at this guy and say, yeah, this guy's one of the faces of the company easily. Do you know what I mean? So from that perspective, he's therefore high. But if he continued that into AEW, we may see it again. We may see please bring back the black trousers, please.
Yeah, that's what
please. I need that. Well, if we see that, he may be bumped to a 5. But currently, as we see now, he's definitely a 4.
Fair enough. I personally want to see full-on cleaner, like, you know, even when the voice, you know, he's like, yes, Kenny Omega, and he was cutting promos like this, like literally,
we
like
saw hints of it in being elite when he's like, I'm just getting started.
yeah.
Like, mad stuff like that, like horror film kind of.
I remember when I think it was after the match with Jurassic Express where he beat up Marco Stunt, and Marco Stunt basically behind the scenes like, oh, like I didn't appreciate that during the match, and then Kenny was just laughing at I was like, fucking pussy. And I was like, yes, like this.
It's coming. Yeah.
I honestly don't know if we'll see full that style of it.
No, knowing Kenny, like
way he's
Enki was
leaning
saying,
into
he
the
wants to
suits
do
and-
something a bit different probably as
Yeah.
well. So, I mean, that's all part of evolving as well. So those that have watched that New Japan thing, you know, some might say if he came and done that now in AEW, say it's lazy and stuff.
Yeah,
so
true.
you do have to adapt. So usually at this point, again, you know, we like a debate here. We'll come together and try and fix one score for
You just wanna fight,
aesthetic. But you guys have both picked a 4, so we're both happy to sit on 4, yeah?
Yeah, 100%.
Cool. So Kenny Omega, aesthetic of 4.
Break it down.
Right, guys, so we're moving on to promo. So as the guys write down the score, they would give Kenny Omega's promo skills. Obviously, promo is, you know, mic ability, how well you rate him on the mic. A lot of controversial remarks when it comes to Kenny Omega and promo. So it'll be interesting to see what these two guys put together here. But guys, again, if you're enjoying this video, make sure you hit the like button. Put down in the comments as well what you would rate Kenny Omega's aesthetic and promo. Let us know. I've just done a whole spiel just to give you lot time, and you lost it.
I'm between two numbers, yeah.
I'm between two numbers, and I'm trying.
Do you know what?
And we don't do half stars round
That's the
here.
problem.
I'm gonna be super. I'm gonna be harsh.
Yeah, same.
Cool. So let's start with NK this time. NK, what have you scored Kenny Omega on his promo?
Ooh.
2. All right then. We'll get there. Go on, GG. And yourself?
3.
3.
I was being harsh. I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to.
So go on, NK.
To be generous, here's why I give Kenny Omega 2. I understand context is very key. A lot of Kenny Omega's like over the top Japanese promos were designed for audience that didn't speak English. So you kind of have to, in Japan, you kind of have to do the most because a lot of the audience don't understand what you're saying. So you kind of have to like go over the top even when wrestling's over the top.
Yeah.
However, Kenny Kenny Omega, when it comes to AEW promos, there's been a lot of times where I've been like,
underwhelmed.
even the segment that I really like, the Don Callis segment, he had on Impact, right?
In the bus.
Yeah, Kenny is stuttering all over the place. He's and I get it. And Kenny is not comfortable doing promos. I thought Kenny's best when let's say you do a highly edited sit-down interview and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But if you were to give Kenny Omega a live, and this is why we haven't seen this. How many times in AEW have you seen Kenny Omega just the audience?
You're right.
We haven't seen it, and
You're
there's
right.
a reason for that. They're protecting him.
Yeah.
They're protecting him from that because we know he's not a.
It's not his strength.
I didn't
It's not
think
his
of it like
strength.
that, man. You're right.
I think he's done a couple promos since, the COVID era, so to speak, when there's been no one in the crowd, basically. But yeah, in front of the, 3, 4, 5,000 person crowd, you're right. I don't think he's took to the mic.
I'll provide a massive, interesting contrast. John Moxley's last feud before Kenny was with Eddie Kingston. How many promo segments did these guys have?
Hella.
You're right, bro.
How many promo segments and individually together? Kenny had backstage stuff, but on the go home show to the pay-per-view, Kenny didn't say a word to John Moxley's face.
And all they're doing, like you said, it's an interview backstage with Alex Marvez, or you know what I mean. And
Now,
and like
something that
he's
they
setting
could
him up for
probably-
questions and answering. That's it.
Yeah.
now obviously you're seeing him talk much more because he has Don Callis, but Don Callis helps alleviate a lot of the problems because now Kenny just comes. Now Kenny doesn't have to carry a lot of the load. Just says what he needs to say, says his catchphrase, and then bounces. Don Callis carries a lot of the story beats in it. So for that reason, I say Kenny Omega's promo skills
2.
are 2.
Fair enough. So, but Gigi, you gave it 1 more. You gave it a 3. So
Because I feel like what you said about the whole translation to Japanese, like his promos there, I feel like he needs some credit for it almost because he was put back into a corner almost because he had to address the crowd, and there is that language barrier. So his promos are very slower, they're simpler terms and drawn out. So I feel like he needs maybe just a point credit just for being able to cut a promo in that style. And the guy can speak Japanese, do you know what I mean?
I think that is massive. And when we're talking, obviously we get to his legacy, I think that is absolutely massive. This man went and learned Japanese to really put himself in the culture there. Like, I think that's something that probably goes over a lot of people's heads.
And the thing is, when you look at promos, I mean, and wrestling, I mean, how many people are there? There should be 5. And like, that's... You're talking Ric Flair's, you're talking, and that's a 5.
The Rock or someone is a 5.
Kenny's not anywhere near that.
Yeah.
I would say that. But
That's a good point.
I thought Kenny's issues are exasperated by the fact that AEW has some of the best promos in the business. So it's like you have such a contrast between him, Cody, him, Moxley, him, Kingston. I mean, there are him, Ricky Starks. There are so many good talkers on the show. It just shows like the gulf between them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
I think that's a good point as well, because obviously we got a lot of, and especially in WWE, they want you to be able to talk. The problem with WWE is that they're going to give you some garbage to read. Whereas AEW, there's some good talkers in there which are having the, allowed to basically put together, okay, this is the story we're telling, just put it in your own words and go out there.
The best promo I've seen in AEW, I think maybe even this year, is Eddie Kingston on Being the Elite after he smashed up his phone and he's sitting there and he's crying.
Is that what he lost the match? He lost
after the Moxley.
lost the Moxley.
He sat there backstage and he's going, look at my phone. I can't even text my family. I can't even ring my family. But I'll be back Wednesday. Like,
the guy's brilliant, honestly, Eddie Kingston.
Like when you talk on the side note, when you talk about like promos that stick out, like the promo, my favorite AEW promo was the promo Cody Rhodes Khan, Jericho, when he used the line undesirable to undeniable.
Yeah.
That hits in the feels, boy.
That promo there,
Cody's
that's special.
But that's what I mean. Like you're saying,
That's special.
with Kenny, that is what does expose Kenny.
Yes.
Cody spits flames on that mic. I haven't seen a babyface promo like that for years. That the crowd really get behind. I know he likes to cry like every other week. He loves shedding tears, that guy. But honestly, like him with a babyface promo in a crowd behind him, there's no one topping Cody like that, man.
It's true.
And that's what exposes Kenny, because they're different levels in promo.
I will say one good thing. I would say Kenny Omega, when it came to New Japan, he was very good at press conferences.
Yeah.
That's a good style
good
again
at-
to protect him.
Yeah, that who's good at press conference? Because I think
Can we count that though?
Yeah.
Is that promo? Well, yeah, it is.
It's-
Press
yeah.
conferences are more like conversational. They're
Yeah.
more
Yeah,
casual,
yeah.
innit? I feel like with Kenny, I feel like Kenny, I don't know him personally, but I feel like it's nerves. I feel like if you put him in an arena where he has to address the crowd, I feel like he gets a bit jittery. But if you put him in a casual situation, like a press conference where there are 10 other wrestlers there and everyone's just, firing stuff back and forth, it's calm, innit?
For me, I think it's probably one of the cases. I mean, I spoke about it on this show with other people before that, when someone's ability is just so great, you've never really had to hone in and learn that side of your craft, especially where maybe when he was in Japan and, he learned Japanese, but it didn't have to come. He didn't have to necessarily cut promos. Again, it's very much based on your ability. So, and for me, he just seems like such a laid back guy, like that. Yeah, getting in front of 5,000 people probably would intimidate him a tiny bit. Like,
it is very interesting to dig deep, like, and really like we're doing, separate these things and pick apart the individual aspects of a wrestler. And when Kenny Omega is like probably the best wrestler in the world, but when you really pick apart his promo and really like, and he's still, don't get me wrong, it's not really been to his detriment because he's still made it.
Yeah,
but
not at all.
when you really like proper, he's not the greatest promo anywhere near it, maybe.
100%.
So NK, we gave him a 2. GG gave him 3. We need one score to go forward with.
I'm leaning towards 2. Now we've picked it apart, and just when you think about all the wrestlers you would put over
That is true.
over on promos, even on his own show, Cody's, Kingston, Moxley, they're all delivering fire promos. And yeah, he does deserve credit for learning Japanese and doing all that, but I can't think of an iconic Kenny promo.
Yeah.
Can you?
No,
Personally, I
can't.
didn't.
I can't. Maybe. Again, this was the promo where he first spoke Japanese, but again, that's iconic because just of the environment, the crowd. I couldn't. I've had to read subtitles, so I couldn't really.
It doesn't count.
Yeah, like if I was a promoter and I booked Kenny Omega, would I give him a live microphone in front of 10,000 people? Absolutely not.
But okay, let's move forward. So promo for Kenny Omega, we're going to give it 2.
Yeah, man.
Break it down.
So right now we're writing down ability for Kenny Omega. So this should be relatively easy. What is Kenny Omega's ability? In-ring ability, taking into consideration his repertoire, finishers, all of that kind of stuff. I mean,
We might as well do it at the same time.
I was literally gonna say, let's make this a WrestleManiac first and just flip these boards at the same time. 3, 2, 1.
I said 5+.
5++ on that.
Kenny Omega, 5-star wrestler. GG, talk to me about his in-ring ability.
It's just so clean.
Yeah.
The V trigger is probably the best signature move in forever.
Yeah.
The way he lands it, and it looks so like he throws his whole body, especially when he lands it when someone's leant up against the ropes,
And he's like, he goes into
and
the
he
ropes
just
as well.
throws his whole self, his
yeah.
whole being, his whole soul into the ropes.
yeah.
Do you know what? It's how brutal that move is, but how safe it is.
Yeah,
Because who's come
that's
out
what I'm
injured
saying. That's what I'm saying.
That's
though
true.
He delivers it so safely, and that's the thing with all of his moves. I went back and watched Okada Omega 1, and at one point he lands the golden triangle moonsault that Ibushi does over the barrier. He just leaps up like he's just running the ropes normally. Leaps up, turns round, backflip over the barrier onto Okada. And that could have gone so wrong, and he just safely just lands on Okada.
Yeah.
Like, and all of his moves are just crisp. His move set is brilliant.
Yeah.
Like, he's strong. Like, he's agile. Like, I mean, could you argue he lacks in the technical side of things because he's not really a submission wrestler?
I don't think that's where wrestling is today.
I know.
So
But I mean,
I think he's proficient enough, especially in that Japanese, growing up in that Japanese system. I think
it's
he's
it's different game, isn't it?
I think he's definitely proficient because I feel like in order to be able to do those Phoenix splashes, I mean you have to start somewhere. Do you know what I mean? I think fundamentals are always taught in it.
I mean, what can you say? I mean, the One-Winged Angel is the best finisher
I'm happy you brought that up.
to ever exist. Maybe has it had the best success rate of any finisher?
So this was my question. In his series with Okada, was that move, apart from obviously when Okada lost, was that move? Did Okada kick out of that?
Grab the ropes.
He grabbed the ropes.
He grabbed the
He
rope.
put his foot on the rope.
So he didn't.
He's never kicked. And the thing is, the foot on the rope was so convenient because literally Okada was right next to the rope. So it wasn't like he stretched. No, he just literally
It
put
like
his foot on the
just
rope.
happened.
It just happened.
That's the
So-
beauty of it.
As far as I remember, because I've been watching New Japan since maybe about 2013. I think Kota Ibushi's been the only person pinned by the one. That's still the case.
DDT in it.
In
That
DDT,
was
yeah.
DDT,
Didn't Okada roll out of it though? Didn't he hit it on someone and they rolled out the ring? Couldn't pin him. I feel like that's the case for
can't
someone as
remember.
well.
But yeah, nobody like what that move is literally. It's a finisher. It's a
So
one hit
protected.
kill. Once you see the one wing angel, it is done. Like the match is not.
We
continuing.
just don't get anything like that in wrestling these
But
days.
that goes
you know?
back to video games, doesn't it? Like you said, it's the one-shot kill. It's the ultimate finisher. You've built up your power bar to the highest level. Ain't nobody kicking
time
out.
to let it
And-
off.
And the beauty of every match is that move. Is he gonna hit it? He's got him on the shoulders, like Hangman. That last
Hangman
sequence,
fought out
that
of
last
it.
sequence,
Yeah.
I was like, what? Like,
And do you know what? Because the move comes from the one wing angel is obviously a reference to the video game character Sephiroth from Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy,
okay.
yeah.
And Sephiroth is basically the big bad of the game. He's like the most iconic villain in Final Fantasy history. And just the naming of the move is so like symbolic because that Sephiroth, if you play Final Fantasy, is that like when Sephiroth comes, things end. He's that guy. He's like the M Bison of the game.
the
Like, when-
Thanos.
Yes, like he's that Thanos. Like once he comes, things end. Like you're not escaping it. And it's like when you, I just love how like intentional like Kenny Omega is with like naming his moves. But
Where's the V trigger come from? That's
a Street Fighter.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Right,
it's a bar. It's basically a mechanic in Street Fighter. That's where V trigger comes from.
okay.
But to get back to the topic of, because I've been dying to talk about this. Kenny
I'm gonna
Omega
sit back for a bit.
is in terms of in-ring ability, he's second to none currently. And I'll tell, first and foremost, what I love about Kenny Omega is his speed. So his speed in the ring, the way he's able to dart around that ring is incredible. But my favorite attribute by Kenny Omega is his cardio. His matches with Okada, the shortest match is probably 25 minutes.
That was the G1 match,
I
yeah.
was probably
Yeah.
at 25 minutes. Their first match probably went, I think,
45, I think, yeah.
Their second match went to an hour. Their third match went an hour 5, an hour 6. 40 minutes into the match, Kenny Omega is doing Frankensteiners and V-triggers. The cardio on
Endurance.
this man is
But
insane.
even the finishing
Conditioning.
sequences,
The,
like
the finishing sequences of the first Okada Omega match where Kenny is spamming V triggers back and forth. He's taking rainmakers on top of and he's doing this in a match where he took a table spot.
yeah, and that table spot.
These are
Dirty.
Japanese tables. These are not WWE tables.
Yeah, they're thicker.
These tables are thick.
Do you know what's
Yeah.
crazy about that table spot? You forget the table's there.
Yeah.
You forget the table's there for a second, yeah, and then you just see a back body, yeah, back body, yeah,
Yeah, I think
That we drop, yeah.
back body drop, yeah, just throws him, and he goes flying over the ropes, and you forget the table's
He was
there. And he
yeah,
lands
they
through
just
the
land through it.
Alright,
you just
that-
think he's just getting clotted outside.
That spot is bad enough, let's say with a padded mat. But because remember, he gets thrown into that table, and that table he crashes hard.
But that's a testament to his own like agility as well to throw himself
Yeah, he-
that distance and that smoothly.
And knowing the landing of it
Yeah.
and
And
everything.
the thing about Kenny is, people don't talk about this enough. His in-ring psychology and storytelling is so. For example, my favorite spot ever in the Kenny Omega match is Kenny Omega versus Okada 2. When Okada goes for the Rainmaker, and Kenny is so tired that he passes out.
Yeah, when Okada was holding him.
Yes,
yeah,
literally, Okada's got the Rainmaker, and Kenny passes out from exhaustion. A spot like something so simple, but it's so significant because then you realize, wait, these men have been wrestling for 40 minutes. It makes
He's a
perfect
brilliant
sense.
storyteller,
Like
man.
in his storytelling in the ring, like the way he's even the Hangman Page match, the spot you mentioned where Hangman is fighting for the One Wing Angel is masterfully done. Like Kenny's Kenny's a bit like, you can watch a Kenny Omega match here. This is the part. The best part which illustrates Kenny Omega's storytelling is his G1 Climax final against Hiroki Goto. This is storytelling masterclass. So it comes to that final stretch of the match where they're spamming finishes, right? Kenny Omega, I can't remember the order, but he goes for the Golden Star Powerbomb, the Bloody Sunday, Styles Clash, and Phoenix Splash. Here's why those are significant. Golden Star Powerbomb is Kota Ibushi's finish.
Yeah.
Bloody Sunday is Finn Balor's finish, but Finn Balor Prince Devitt's finish.
Yeah.
AJ Styles Clash, Golden Star Phoenix Splash again, and then One Winged Angel. Kenny Omega is channeling every person that's influenced him in his career in New Japan, and he ends it with his own, cementing the fact that he's
up there with them.
All of these.
Yeah.
And the reason why the use of Bullet Club leaders finisher, AJ Styles, Prince Devitt, he's using their finishers because obviously those are the guys that mentored him, and he actually has
and he took their spots.
And he took their spots as the leader of the Bullet Club. So it cemented him. It's not the winner G1 Climax, but the leader of the Bullet Club. I'm the person who's taking this forward. But the move he doesn't hit is the Phoenix Splash, which is Kota Ibushi's move, because he still has unfinished business with Kota Ibushi. All of that story is told in a few spots. This guy is a wrestling genius. Like when people, and this is obviously it's a vast minority of people, when people come and say, "Oh, Kenny Omega's overrated," and so on and so forth, it's like
blasphemy.
It is
Literally.
It is very disrespectful because this guy is he's an artist and he's describing himself that way. He's very meticulous about what he does in the match. There is no wasted movement with Kenny Omega. There's not a spot fest for a spot fest.
There ain't rest holds.
Yeah.
And the thing about Kenny Omega is that when you argue, when you say, okay, what's Kenny Omega's best match? Obviously, people bring up the Okada series. The reason why I say the Okada series is so significant, because arguing what is the best match of the Okada series is a debate within itself.
Yeah, man.
It's a debate, and
Talk that shit.
it's a debate.
100%.
A series of matches is a debate within itself.
NK, I'm gonna stop you here.
Yes.
I'm gonna stop you here
You're gonna
because
I can go forever.
yeah.
I can go forever.
listen, I told you guys I brought you the hood Japanese #1 correspondent. We're gonna get into everything you're just talking about in regards to the matches with Okada when we speak about legacy. But I think it's easy to agree that ability is 5 here. Yeah,
100.
cool.
I'd give him 100 if it was if I could.
Break it down.
So last but not least, we're going to talk about Kenny Omega's legacy. So this is, since he is still, an active competitor, this is the legacy he's probably going to leave behind that we are, rating here. Legacy obviously comes down to feuds and matches. Obviously, we're going to talk about the Okada series, so it's series of matches as well. And just the legacy, that this person is going to leave in wrestling when it's all said and done. So let's start with NK. NK has gone straight in again for a 5, and GG a 4. Okay, so another bit of a debate here. So in fact, this is interesting. Why have you given him a 4 and not a 5?
His legacy ain't done.
So okay,
He's got a lot more to go. I mean, could it be argued it will be a 5 by the time he's hung up his boots? Probably.
yeah,
But again, and I don't want to obviously bring other wrestlers into it, but when you think of legacy and you think of a 5, you think of your Ric Flairs, your, the legacy that they've left behind and the mark they've made. And I know obviously Kenny has had a huge influence on the overall wrestling business, and the Young Bucks obviously had a hand in that, and they've done a lot of, but I would possibly say the Young Bucks legacy is probably,
would you say it's more than Kenny Omega's right now?
just because of how the Young Bucks changed the merch scene, and do you know what I mean?
And
So
what they've done for tag team
but
wrestling,
that's a different conversation
Yeah,
for
yeah.
another day. But yeah, I just think he misses out on a 5 spot. Like, the Okada matches in 10 years especially, they are going to age so well.
Yeah,
I mean, we're already we can't stop mentioning those matches for everything we're talking about, but in 5-10 years even more so, they're going to be, those series will be a big chunk of time where we're going to look back and go, that was a big time in wrestling.
Yeah, yeah.
But, and obviously he's doing a lot of work right now, and a lot's going to change, like, within the next 2-3 weeks. You know what I mean? By the time you put this out, he could have another 4 titles on his shoulders.
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, that may give him the 5. But yeah, I just think comparatively to your Austins or whoever you want to throw out there that, you know, we look back on fondly now, he's not there yet. And he could be, but he's not done enough yet.
I think that's fair.
When I put him at a 5, I don't necessarily put him like I don't foresee Kenny Omega becoming The Rock, Stone Cold, even maybe Cena. But I see him in a position. The reason why I put Kenny Omega as a 5, right? To do what Kenny Omega has done without being in the WWE speaks volumes.
Yeah.
In terms of it speaks absolute volumes. Because remember, it never happened, and I wish it happened. But New Japan were booking a show at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, last year. Yeah,
last. I think back when Kenny Omega was still at New Japan. New Japan tickets sold out for MSG because there was speculation of Kenny Omega versus Okada 5. Now we know what Madison Square Garden means to wrestling, especially to WWE. For a company, a Japanese speaking promotion to sell out Madison Square Garden of the potential, not even the confirm, of the potential of a match speaks volumes about his drawability. Kenny Omega is doing something. AEW are doing something quite new. Now, depending on how successful AEW is, will determine his legacy. But Kenny Omega is one of the focal points of a new company. And probably the first, I would say, alternative since WWE or TNA.
Yeah, real alternative.
Sorry, not to interrupt, but it's taken a while for him to get there, though.
No, it's taken a while for him to get there, but he's at that position now. And
I think that's purposely, though.
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, that's to credit.
Yeah.
But even when AEW was announced, when Kenny, because I heard AEW was in the works, and Kenny Omega didn't sign immediately, right?
Yeah.
When I was kind of like, okay, Young Bucks, Cody, okay, cool, I get it. But when Kenny put his name to the paper, everyone in wrestling started to listen. Said, okay, you've got the big, because Kenny Omega was by far the biggest free agent in wrestling.
Maybe even in history.
He's like
Maybe.
Everybody, every company wanted to have Kenny Omega a part of their roster. And when it comes to like legacy, like obviously a lot of the story is untold, but just his legacy in New Japan alone will put him at a legend state. I wouldn't put him at GOAT status, we'll put him at wrestling legend, you know, like the Antonio, I would say, not Antonio Inoki, but you put him...
He made himself a legend.
Yeah, he made himself. But you put him amongst the legendary categories of wrestlers. But the potential that Kenny has within AEW, let's be honest, AEW is never going to surpass WWE. That's not going to happen in our lifetime. It's not going to happen.
Well,
I'm not so sure anymore. I said the exact same thing, but given the way they've started this second year of their tenure, WWE
if they can nail a working relationship with New Japan, that'll blow everything wide open. Like you're saying about Madison Square Garden, they've done it before, bruv. They can sell out. Like
the reason why I say that is because WWE, at the height of its popularity, was a part of pop culture. Wrestling was a part of pop culture during the 90s and early 2000s. I think wrestling isn't the same way today. Even if AEW becomes super popular, it will never be at that cultural.
So you're saying it's not necessarily even AEW's fault that they can't reach that plateau. Okay.
Like when you think of wrestling, like you will just like WWE, like if you think of the 80s, the golden era, the attitude era, like wrestling as a whole was a part of pop culture in a way that it's not today, innit? So
you're right. Yeah.
Do you know what's to add to your point? You still have outsiders; they'll still call it WWF.
Yeah,
which proves the point.
Yeah.
No one. It's not transcended like even WWE.
100%. So when I put Kenny at a 5, I don't put him in the Austin level. I just put him as like a pioneer of wrestling, a pioneer of alternative wrestling. Because now, you've got man like Seth Rollins mentioning guys. You got WWE superstars mentioning what's happening over there. Do you know what I mean? That acknowledging Kenny created a buzz on the internet amongst the wrestling community that we hadn't seen in a long time. That from a product that was outside of WWE. I compare it to AJ. AJ Styles was considered a wrestling GOAT before he even entered WWE. Like from the TNA New Japan days. I thought Kenny is of that same cloth. He's building his legacy, and it's like if this title run belt collector run goes the way we think it's gonna go, it's going to change
That's
wrestling.
iconic.
It's going to change, and this is not hyperbole. It's going to change wrestling. The matches he had with Okada, like, for a long time, I'm gonna say this. For a long time, I considered Untitled versus Shawn Michaels the greatest wrestling match of all time.
WrestleMania 25.
WrestleMania 25. When I saw Kenny Omega Okada 1, I said, this can compete with Undertaker Shawn Michaels. When I saw Kenny Omega of Okada 2, I said, this might be better than Undertaker Shawn Michaels. And then number 3 happened. Number 3 was still 5-star, but it wasn't. Then number 4 happened. I was like, wait, I think this might be like, number 2 is my greatest match of all time. But that series there, like, I feel like those two, Kenny Omega and Okada, like, will always be synonymous with each other because of that series. That series was special. Yes, cool. Dave Meltzer gave it 7 stars, but nobody in good faith can go to that match and say that was a bad match.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do it. You're just hating at that point.
Yeah,
just hating.
Maybe Stevie Wonder, but that's
That
about
can't see. Yeah.
But like, what those matches did is that they created a dialogue, because New Japan, it's not like this is the first 5-star match in New Japan. New Japan been having 5-star matches, but that's the first match that kind of transcended the company.
Yeah.
Like, New Japan had their biggest Wrestle Kingdom subscription to New Japan World when Kenny Omega was clashing with Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
Even stuff like for some.
That's when I started really
paying attention
what's
to
going
New
on
Japan.
over here?
Yeah.
Legend like Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho is a GOAT. For him to say the first person I want to work with in AW is this guy Kenny Omega, speaks volumes.
Yeah. That's a seal of approval right there.
That wasn't even the main event, but that might as well have been the main event.
Well, that's when they started this co-main event stuff, innit? Like,
That might as well have been the main event. Kenny Omega was the guy, and remember some of the guys that New Japan have had under their employment, AJ, Finn, and Prince Devitt. Kenny was seen as the guy. This is going to be the face of our Western division, to the point where, this is Kenny's first year, his first title reign, he beats Tanahashi for the IC title. He goes and wins the G1 Climax. He main events Wrestle Kingdom, something that AJ Styles never did. AJ Styles never won the G1 and Wrestle. And AJ's run in New Japan was sick.
was proper,
proper. But within his first year, he's main event. Naito didn't even main event Wrestle Kingdom at that time. For a guy within his a non-Japanese talent, I have to stress this enough, because if you look at Wrestle Kingdom main events,
it's full of Japanese faces.
It's New Japan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For the non-Japanese man to endear himself to a Japanese audience and main event and be one of the undisputed faces of the company speaks volumes.
And like Max said, it goes to his credit where he's taken the time to learn Japanese and make that effort to get that audience and to get himself over. The only thing I want to touch on, sorry man, I know we're going over, but just because of legacy, I don't want us to not mention him winning the first US title as well.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, that's massive. So, that's a good point. Yeah. So Gigi's given 4. NK, you gave a 5. Are we gonna meet in the middle well, we can't really meet in the middle.
I mean,
I think 4 is fair just because his story isn't finished yet.
Or we do it this way and we do 5, and if he doesn't change the wrestling world in the next year and we don't get a Bushi,
we come straight back
I'm
in
coming
here.
back and we're changing it to a 4.
I'm
getting my point back.
So what are we saying? What are we going to go for?
I'm happy to go for 5, but I will be back if
If he
don't
doesn't
take
pull
the
off
belt
his
from
socks.
Ibushi, yeah.
So Kenny Omega, legacy, a 5.
Break it down.
Right, guys, so we've totted up all the points. Thank you to NK and GG that have come through and given us some well put together points on Kenny Omega. He has arrived at a 4 out of 5 star wrestler. I think it's fair to say it was his promo ability that dragged him down a lot. And I think the fact that he is still wrestling, you know, we've still got a lot more to see of him. You know, by the time this is all said and done, if he were to do this at the end of his career, this could easily be a 5 out of 5 type of guy. So we know that AEW currently anyway, they don't have like a Hall of Fame or anything like that. But this guy is a Hall of Fame level talent. He is a headline Hall of Fame.
Wrestling Observer Hall of
Yes, the Wrestling Observer
Yeah,
one, that was recent. But yeah, just generally, he could headline, like, you know, if we say this was a WWE class, I think this would be the level of wrestler that could headline a class going into the Hall of Fame. I mean, we've spoken so much about Kenny Omega. Any last words before we close up here?
You've got to do the catchphrase now.
Oh,
Do the thing, do the thing, do the thing, do the
You
thing.
haven't done it for so long.
bid you adieu. Goodbye.
Mwah!
Good night.
Bang! Thank you so much to NK and GG coming through for Break It Down, Kenny Omega. Guys, put down below in the comments who you want us to talk about next. We'll be back on the channel very, very soon with some more Break It Downs. In the meantime, watch the ones all on the playlist, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. And we will see you in the next one. WrestleManiac UK signing out, and I'll see you soon.